Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Radiant Central, and I'm your host, Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So today I want to give some tips on how to navigate the holiday meals, because I know right now it's third week of December, and right now it's Hanukkah. At the end of the week it's Christmas, next week it is New Year's, and the month of December too is full of office parties and celebrations, and it's one big month of partying and eating and all of that. And so recently I was hosting a group that was doing a 7-day whole food challenge, and someone had mentioned that they're getting kind of nervous for the holiday dinners to be coming up, and they've done a whole week of eating super healthy and they kind of don't want to break that, but they're nervous about what to choose, what to eat, and are they going to mess up. And so I know that a lot of people go through this, and I thought today I'd give some tips. And the first tip that I have, the first suggestion I have, is to be confident. Okay, this is a huge one. If you're nervous about it, if you're doubting it, if thinking about the holiday dinners is making you scared, then you're more likely to actually fall off. You have to be confident. You have to be excited. And it's about figuring out a way, how can you get excited about this dinner coming up instead of dreading it? You know, how can you be excited about the food instead of getting nervous about what you're going to choose or how you're going to get through it? Because if you look at sort of the holiday season as to like, how am I going to get through this without gaining 10 pounds or falling off my diet, it's putting yourself down. It's telling yourself that you're weak. It's telling yourself that you don't have control or power over the situation, and really you do. But if you look at it from a perspective of being excited about it and confident in yourself and excited about celebrating this time and to be eating foods perhaps you haven't had in a year, and to be sharing foods with your family and friends, and looking at it that way, it's much easier to stick on track as to what you want to do, how you want to eat through the holidays, and what goals you have. Okay, so number one is get excited. Think about how can you get excited about it. And it might be that you're excited about the people you're going to see. It might be that you're excited about sticking on your diet, that you're going to prove to yourself that you can. Or it might be excited because once a year you allow yourself to have a few treats, whatever it is. But be very clear as to like, how can you make the holiday season as exciting and fun as possible? Because when it's exciting and when it's fun, then there's no room for sabotage. There's no room for messing up. There's no room for doubt or nervousness. Okay, number one. Number two is having a plan. You have to think a little bit ahead of time. And it's not about being meticulous and writing down what you're going to eat and this is how you're going to do it. But it's being very clear with yourself as to what are the foods that you want to eat a lot of at the holiday celebration, and what are the foods that you're going to pass up on. And what are some of the foods that you might have. And if you do have, you have a small portion. If you're clear about that, it's much easier. And if you know what you're going to do beforehand, then you can just follow through. The worst thing people can do is they're nervous about the holiday season, and then they're not thinking about the food that's being served, and then once they arrive they're just like, oh my god, I forgot about all these dishes, and I haven't had this in ages, and I want that, and then they feel guilty, and then they overeat. And we want to avoid that. So if you walk in feeling really excited and happy to be with your family and with your friends and share a beautiful meal, and in the back of your head you're like, you know what, I really want to eat a lot of vegetables, I really want to have this dish, and I'm definitely not going to be eating this, and I'm definitely not going to be eating that, and maybe, just maybe, if I really want to, I might allow myself a small portion of this, and I might have a little bit of that. Then you feel more in control and more empowered in the situation, and then you just have more guidelines to work with, and I just find people are more successful that way. So do think ahead, do have a plan. And I also suggest too, if you're one of these people that kind of, let's say you have a plan and you're planning on being like super like 100% on a healthy clean diet, and next thing you know it, you had a small portion of a certain dish that you were planning on not having, but someone put it on your plate and you ate some, and then you felt so guilty that you ended up eating more of it, and then you ate something else you didn't want, and then you ate everything on the dessert table, and you just kind of sabotaged yourself. If you're one of those people that kind of gets into that domino effect, my suggestion is to think ahead as to if that happens. If for some reason you do end up having something you're planning on not having, how are you going to react to that? Are you going to let it pass, or are you going to sabotage yourself? You know, and if you do decide to have something that you haven't had in ages, that is a treat food, how much are you going to have, and how are you going to counter that need to feel guilty? You know, how are you going to ensure that you don't feel guilty? What are you going to tell yourself? How are you going to handle that situation? Because that too, if you're prepared for that, it also makes a huge difference. okay? And then I also say too, is to also have a few guidelines within yourself, like that work. Like for myself, I can give an example of this, that for me, whenever I go to like any kind of big meal, like a family celebration or a buffet or like anything like that, I have this rule in my head that I only like to eat foods that I really like. Like I have to really, really like the food to eat it. If I'm just eating for the sake of eating because someone puts something on my plate and I really kind of don't like it or kind of just don't love it, then I don't want to eat it. I'd rather be sort of indulging in those foods that I really love, especially if it is just like, you know, once a year, it's a family celebration. I really just want to be eating those foods that I really, really love. And for me, that helps me kind of stick to like enjoying the food and also just sticking to the foods that I plan to eat. You know, for someone else, it's that they love to have a little bit of everything, you know, and that once a year they allow themselves all these treat foods, but they really watch the portions. So they tell themselves, yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of everything because this is my favorite time of the year and I love the family celebrations and the home-cooked meals, and I'm going to have a little bit of everything. And so they know beforehand how they sort of navigate through the meal. You know, and for another person, they're like, no, I want to just stick on my diet and I'm, you know, saying no to everything and that's it. And that's their plan. So it's kind of having rules for yourself and what works for you and what doesn't. And once you kind of know that, then it's easier to kind of get through a lot of different meals because you kind of know what is easy to do and at the same time what is in alignment with your goals, okay? And next suggestion I have as well, and this is more technical, is that a lot of times people are encouraged not to go to social gatherings where they're going to eat, not to go when they're hungry. And I actually recommend going with a big appetite. Because a lot of times people say to me, yeah, I ate before I went so I wouldn't be too hungry and I wouldn't overeat, but then I overate anyways. I see this all the time, and I myself have done that in the past as well, is that like I thought it would help me to eat a little bit before I went, but by the time I got there, like maybe from social nervousness, I had a tendency to eat more, and just from being there and there's so much food, I'm eating more as well. And I didn't really need to eat that meal beforehand. So I actually recommend to people that to go to these social celebrations and gatherings hungry. Go with an appetite. You're meant to be eating. So don't go full in case you might end up eating another big meal on top of that meal, right? You don't want to do that. And instead of going there where you've just had something to eat, my suggestion is that be the last person to finish your meal. Okay, a lot of times people eat really quickly, and people eat very like mindlessly, right? They're eating really quick and they're having a conversation at the same time, and then you're sitting next to someone that's eating so quickly that you end up eating really quickly as well. My suggestion is being really mindful as to being the last person to finish your plate, because if you eat really slowly, then your body will tell you when it's had enough. And if you eat too quickly, then your body doesn't have enough time to register that you've had enough. So my suggestion is go with an appetite, get a nice plate of food, but eat it really slow. And when you're full, stop. And even if that means not finishing the plate, stop. You know, that too, you know, you don't need to finish the plate. And that's something to maybe tell yourself before you go, is that you can put all these lovely things on your plate, but you don't need to eat everything. Stop when you're full and eat really slowly. A lot of times this is one key thing that can make a huge difference in how you go about your holiday indulgences and your holiday eating. And lastly, my suggestion is to think ahead before you go. But all the benefits you've already gone so far from eating a healthy diet or being on a healthy lifestyle. A lot of times people forget that like this past year they lost 20 pounds, or they forget that they reversed a health condition, or that their skin cleared up because they eliminated a certain food from their diet, or that their mood is so much better because they let go of sugar, or whatever it is. Remind yourself, you know, how far you've come in this past year or over the course of time that you've spent on a healthy diet, and all the benefits you've gotten, both physically, internally, and externally. How has it affected your appearance? How has it affected your mind? How has it affected your body? And once you remember all the benefits you have, then when you walk into that family dinner or that holiday celebration, you will probably think twice about some of the choices you have, you know, and whether you really want to indulge in certain foods, because look at how far you've already come. And I find this helps a lot. I find a lot of times when people remember, you know, just how much weight they lost, then they don't want to indulge in all that food because they're proud of themselves that they lost weight, or that they gave up certain foods, or that they reversed a certain health condition, or that they just look so fabulous from eating a healthier diet that they're like, oh, I don't want to sabotage myself. I don't want to go that way. Look how far I've come. Look how great I feel. So focus on that. All right, so these are my tips. And I just want to mention too that if you want to do a New Year's fast, starting January 6th, so that's the first week of January. January 6th is the 10-day juice fast starting for 2015. So if you want to kick off the new year doing a juice fast, do join us. It's 10 days of doing a 10-day juice fast. It's a perfect way to start the new year. Do a nice deep cleanse, and beginner fasters are welcome as well as advanced fasters. It's a great program. It's an online program, so once you sign up you get all the information on how to do the fast. Plus, when the fast begins, you do it as a group. There's an online forum where you get to connect with everyone doing the juice fasting with you. I'm on the forum every day, answering questions, offering additional support, and there's also daily videos, 20 to 40 minutes long, that walk you through everything you need to know about doing a cleanse and the detox symptoms and how to do the fast correctly, and other things you can incorporate in the fast, and how to stay motivated and stay on the fast. So it's a perfect way to start the new year, a nice cleanse. So if you want more information or you want to sign up, go to my website at radiantcentral.com, click on juice fasting, and you can sign up there. Have a super fabulous day, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.